Hey friends, this is Dolany TV. Glad to have you aboard this evening, this afternoon, this morning, whenever you get a chance to tune into this fine week here in, well, now officially the middle of August. And why are we talking what we're talking? Well, this is the time of year we start hearing about PTO candidates for teams like the Oilers and across the NHL. So figured I'd get out in advance of it and just kind of talk about maybe what the Oilers are going to try and strategize here over the next little bit as they bring guys into camp for, of course, training camp 2024. So if you're new to the channel though, right now I will encourage you to check out the channel, go around, figure out, hey, is Dolany TV right for you? We do daily or mostly daily Oilers updates, and we try and cover as much good news as we can, and well, everything else in between, as you know, if you're a long-time subscriber of the channel. So what we know right now is it's August 7th. What we also know is we have a new GM in Stan Bowman, which means more than likely maybe a different direction when it comes to training camps as compared to Ken Holland, who always tried to have 1 to 2, maybe 3 PTOs at all times in training camp. And I mean, it's fairly possible that this year, with the plethora of great players we have available to fill out the preseason games, right? There's a lot of them. We very well may just not see a PTO. That's what I want to preface this whole video with, is we may not see one. This may be a complete waste of a video, but what I'm thinking is there's maybe some Stan Bowman tied players from back in the day that may be willing to come to the Oilers on a PTO if they don't have a deal. That's my first line of thinking, right? A new GM in a new spot, a new guy on a winning team. Why not try and go there and earn a contract? We've seen it work out with some other guys for the Oilers over the past few years. Why not see if you can do it again here this year with maybe some new guys that wouldn't have thought of the Oilers otherwise? Not saying that Bowman's an attraction by any means at this point with the Oilers in the state they are in, winning and obviously being a game short of the Stanley Cup victory, but you get where I'm going, right? The factors are a bit different now that Ken Holland is no longer general manager. Then you, of course, move into kind of what was reported right away when Bowman took over as general manager, and that was the fact that that European scouting and that European free agent stuff might kind of take more shape for the Oilers than it has over the past several years. So what one might think is we've seen it more so earlier, I think, and earlier in the Ken Holland era, is there were some guys that came over from Europe and signed contracts with the Oilers, guys that came in on PTOs, right? Bertasov, I think, if everybody remembers that name from several years ago. So I would assume maybe, if that's been reported out there that that's a possibility with the new GM in town, well, maybe that's an angle you look at, right? Maybe it's not an NHL guy. Maybe it's a complete unknown just coming to camp. Maybe the Oilers don't sign him right away, don't even put him on the radar realistically, just bring in a different guy for a different look, for a different situation, right? Who knows? But that's where it's kind of at. I will tell you there is also one very strong candidate that we will probably hear some news on in the next little bit if there's still a desire to play, but that one I will leave for Patrick on the Oilers Fanatic to explain to you, because that one, when we talk about ex-Stan Bowman players, makes all too much sense. But again, you got to temper the expectations right there and just slow down when it comes to talking about bringing guys out of, I guess, maybe retirement. I don't know where that stands right now. But again, like I said, later this week, Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic will have more on that when he's not busy enjoying some hockey action down at Rogers. That said, friends, that's where I look at things, right? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty simple at this point. PTOs, I mean, always a possibility, but I think there's a different line of attacking the situation this year than in years previous with Ken Holland. So I look forward to seeing the names that pop out, right? This is the early advance copy. We'll see those first few names pop out sometime in the next week or two, and then we'll really get into the nitty-gritty of who the Oilers could ultimately invite to camp midway through September. This is all on the TV, friends. I am up on out of here.